This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1038, A Dark Side of Blended Families, The Role of ExPartners, by Dr. Jill Harman of Luvze.com. Hello, everybody. So happy to have you here today. I am your host and narrator, Greg Audino, and the post I've got for you today is a little different than usual. So what I'll be reading is part of a series from Luvze.com in which our author, Dr. Jill Harman, is intertwining research with a fictitious family scenario that she puts herself in. So a quick note before we begin, in case it's confusing. Throughout this post, she refers to her partner, her fictional partner, as the consultant. You'll likely pick that up immediately, but I just wanted to let you know so you can focus on the information right from the get-go. So with that being said, let's jump right into this really creative combination of research and storytelling and optimize your life. A Dark Side of Blended Families, The Role of ExPartners, by Dr. Jill Harman of Luvze.com. If I were to portray the blending of my family with the consultants as all rainbows and butterflies, I would be lying. Not because things are challenging with him, quite the contrary. We are on the same page almost all of the time about handling the normal challenges that come with being a family, such as who should handle one kid's tantrum and how to handle our financial obligations. Things are, however, much more complicated than the Brady Bunch family we often seem to others. In the case of the Brady family, the parents, Carol and Mike, were a widow and widower. There is no doubt that losing a spouse or parent is devastating. Research shows that it is actually not uncommon for widowed parents of young children to remarry within 5 years of the loss of their former spouses. Some researchers have even described the deceased spouse as remaining like an invisible figure in the new marriage. Their influence still lives on through the surviving spouse. In all my years watching reruns of the Brady Bunch, I don't recall many references at all to the deceased parents of the children. In fact, they seem to just move on and start all over as one big happy family. If only it could be that simple. The consultant and I are not a widow and widower. We have ex-spouses who, each in their own way, have created serious challenges for us as a blended family. Whereas these challenges will not be the primary focus of my blog posts, I feel it would be disingenuous to not share some of them, as they are the reality that we and many others face on a daily basis. Ideally, it would be in the children's best interest to support one's ex-spouse in moving on with their life after the divorce. Indeed, minimizing conflict and being supportive of each other as parents after divorce results in better mental health outcomes for children. But we don't live in an ideal world. The consultant and I were faced with a situation where his ex-wife, X, has relentlessly attempted to undermine our relationship and our relationship with her children. It started with X sending hostile and angry emails to the consultant about me, with outlandish claims about my character, like she's a bad influence on the girls. Then, the consultant's children started asking me questions about negative things X had said about me. For example, child number 2 asked me whether my students liked me. I learned that X had showed her a negative teaching evaluation written by a former disgruntled student online, which was hardly representative of the many students I have taught over the years. I calmly told number 2 that yes, my students like me, and I have in fact won several teaching and advising awards. She did not seem convinced. Later, in an argument with the consultant, number 2 yelled at him and said that I was a horrible teacher. Attempts by former partners to destroy the image of the other parent's new relationship and relationship partner is a common strategy used by parents who are threatened and angry. It is one of many behaviors such parents use to alienate their children from the other parent. That was only the beginning. When the consultant's children were in our care, X would call and text them incessantly. One weekend, we counted over 60 calls and texts to one child alone from her. This strategy interfered with the children's ability to have quality time with us because they had to consistently respond to her and pull their attention away from the activities we were doing as a family. Mothers more typically employ interference like this than fathers, and I wish I could say that such interference has stopped. While the frequency has lessened to some degree, She has found other ways to interfere, such as dropping important news to the girls when we are on vacation so that they cannot just enjoy their time with us as a blended family. Several years since the consultant and I started dating, the alienating behaviors have not abated. Some behaviors directly involve the children. Others are employed in ways that are more subversive, such as taking me off the children's emergency contact list at school every year in order to undermine my role in their lives, or bad-mouthing me and the consultant to teachers and medical providers to make us look bad. Our experience is not unique. Over 22 million American adults are estimated to be the targets of alienating behaviors like the ones we've been dealing with. The challenges we faced were a multitude. How could we manage the negative perceptions as children were being taught about us? How could we avoid doing things to protect ourselves without affecting the children's perception of X? For example, if we said that something they were told by X was untrue, they became defensive of X and thought we were calling her a liar. It has been a lose-lose situation in many respects. We have managed so far by getting support from close friends and family, attending support groups for parents and step-parents like ourselves, learning about research on this topic, and learning strategies on how to protect children and ourselves from this form of abuse. A few vacations here and there without the kids has also helped to disconnect from the stress created by X, reconnect with each other as a couple, and put things into perspective. While blended families grapple with the same problems other intact, not divorced or separated families deal with, they are also influenced by the other parents of the children. It would be best for everyone to support loving relationships with all family members and not undermine them, and I am always heartened to hear when other blended families are able to do this. Sadly, this has not been our experience, and we do our best every day to minimize the negative impact of alienating behaviors on the children and ourselves. You just listened to the post titled, A Dark Side of Blended Families, The Role of ExPartners, by Dr. Jennifer Jill Harman of Loves.com. Now folks, if you thought the fireworks were over with, hold on just a second. Now, I'm not talking about the loud fireworks that pop off outside your window until 2 a.m. I'm talking about those fireworks you feel when you finally get life insurance coverage. Introducing our new partner, Policy Genius. They make it easy to compare quotes from over a dozen top insurers all in one place. And why compare? Because you can save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. That means you could save $1,300 or more per year on life insurance by using Policy Genius to compare policies. Their licensed experts work for you, not the insurance companies, so you can trust them to help you navigate every step of the shopping and buying process. And getting started is easy. Just head to policygenius.com, and in minutes you can work out how much life insurance coverage you need and compare personalized quotes to find your best price. So, head to policygenius.com to get started right now. Policy Genius. When it comes to insurance, it's nice to get it right. And thanks so much to Dr. Jennifer for not only a great post, but again, the wonderful creativity involved in making it. If you find yourself in a similar situation, know that it is always wise to set boundaries with ex-partners when children are involved. This is useful whether or not you've entered another relationship, and is something that can be revisited as circumstances change. Sometimes this can be tough to do had the relationship ended poorly, but if you can make the focal point of such conversations out to be the mutual love that you still share for your children, this can be a good common ground to center yourselves on, again, should either of you start to look out more for your own individual needs. Remember that children, and theoretically wanting what's best for them, is always going to be something that you share. And though conflict resolution won't always be easy, it is something that's important to keep in mind for civility and the children's development. So, on that note, we're going to wrap things up. It's been a great one today, and I hope you liked it as much as I did. Come on back tomorrow, where I will have another enlightening post for you and your loved ones, everyone. That's where your optimal life awaits.